Hello, welcome to When the Smoke Clears. I am the Recovery Plug. What's happening, everybody? Alrighty, man. Today's another good day. Hope everybody's doing great. I appreciate everybody watching this podcast video. But before we get started with today's subject, if you would please join me in a moment of silence, followed by a serenity prayer for the addicts who still suffers, and for those of you who are still in the struggle. If you would please, moment of silence. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, wisdom to know the difference. Alrighty, man. So let's get started with today's subject. Well, I was deciding what I was going to talk about today, and I was watching a couple of podcasts, and then I watched a documentary on a sports thing, and then it kind of the theme that they all had in common with the things that I was watching was that they were all doing things that were making them a master, a skillful master, if you will, of different types of things in their life. One was a basketball player, the other one was a doctor, and the other one was this psychologist, right? And they all did things in their life to become this pro, if you will, right? Professional basketball player, a professional psychologist, and a professional doctor, right? And, it got me to thinking. I was like, man, you know what? Why can't we just put that into context in a real life scenario, just like they did in their lives? That was a real life scenario for them. But as far as someone like myself, who has a few things wrong with him, if you will, and I got a few of these neurological brain disorders, and for me personally, it's dealing with drug addiction, dealing with PTSD, dealing with childhood traumatic experiences, trauma, that sort of thing, right? And I was like, man, you know what? What I need is, I need to be a professional person who lives life. You know what I mean? Like a pro life liver. If you understand what I'm saying, to be a master at living life in this way where you're just the champion of your own life, if you will. And my point is that all these people, the ones that I was referring to, they lived their lives and they did things to get to where they're at by doing things repetitively. You know what I mean? They did things every single day, a certain way. In other words, the things that they did were positive things that were mapping their brain out, if you will, with these positive thoughts. You know what I mean? Every day the basketball player is shooting free throws. Every single day he shot free throws. So his mentality when shooting free throws, he did it so much that his brain mapped it already. So his brain already mapped how to shoot a free throw, how far the free throw was, how high he needed to get his arms, how his hand needed to be released, how his legs had to go up. All of that, the body programmed itself to do this certain thing. You know what I mean? And just like the psychologist, the same way. He fed himself all of this knowledge, and in turn there, he is able to, be a psychologist. And the repetitiveness of seeing patients and doing these labs and whatever he does, you know what I mean, got him to that point. So if I want to have a good life, if I want to be happy, if I want to feel love, if I want to feel compassionate, if I want to be mindful, if I want to have good things happen to me, if I want good karma, if I want this good energy, if I want to attract good energy, if I want to attract things that are flourishing my life in a loving, mindful, enlightened, and spiritual way, well then, what do? Well, I do exactly what they did. And do things that are going to get you there. Do things that are going to be mindful. Do things that are going to, map your brain out to think these positive and spiritual and loving ways. And to me, it was just like a no-brainer, if you will. You know what I mean? So there was a scenario that one of the people on the podcast was saying that, the brain can be mapped out in 7 to 9 days with an action. And I know this to be true because I've done it myself personally. And I can give you a couple of examples of that. And one of the examples that I do is my meditation. I meditate every single morning and every single night. As soon as I get up in the morning, I'm doing meditation, and I'm thinking meditation, and I'm thinking prayer, and I'm thinking that type of positive mentality. As soon as I get up, according to the guy that I was watching in the podcast, he said 86% of the time, when people get up in the Western world, which is in the U.S. mainly, every time they get up, as soon as they get up, the first thing they do is they grab their phone. That's the very first thing they do, right? So as soon as you grab your phone, then guess what? You're already connecting yourself to the outside world. You know what I mean? You're already connecting yourself to work. You're already connecting yourself to, people that give you anxiety. The whatever it is that the environment is setting out for you, whatever you got in that phone, because you're on the phone a lot, whatever it is that the kind of energy that phone brings with all the chaos stuff that happens whilst people are on these things is the first thing that you're thinking. So in turn there, your mind starts racing automatically. So already at that point, as soon as you woke up, you went from your subconscious mind of thinking things, your subconscious mind opened up. Your subconscious mind opened up because you just woke up. It's the first thing you're going to do. It's wide open to receive whatever information you're going to give it. And guess what you did? Picked up the phone, and all of that energy, all of that stuff, all of those thoughts, that energy is coming in. And it's mapping your brain automatically. So you're already back into the depression, back into the stressors, back into the anxieties, back into the anger, and that sort of thing. And the enlightenment, the mindfulness, the positivity, the spirituality is the last thing that you're thinking about then. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing when you're going to go to sleep. The first thing people do when they're going to go to bed is they're laying down with the phone in their hand, scrolling. Everybody does this. Just about everybody in the United States does this. If you have a phone, I can guarantee you do that. You know what I mean? It's time to go to bed, you're on the phone, and you're just doing this number here. You're scrolling, watching videos, whatever, you know what I mean? Catching up on emails, but you're involved in that. So you're still involved in the environment. So basically the environment is controlling your thought processes and controlling your life. You know what I mean? Ultimately, that's what it's doing. So when you go to sleep, when you sleep, your body is preparing itself for repair mode. And guess what happens in repair mode? When you go to sleep, the subconscious mind opens wide up again. And guess what you're doing? The last thing that you're doing is that you're on the phone. Now you got all that energy, all of those negative things creeping up into that subconscious mind. And guess what? That's what you sleep with. You sleep with that subconscious mind wide open. You can't sleep because you're stressed. You can't sleep because you have anxiety. You have bad dreams. You're having nightmares. your muscles are tensed up, you got cricks in your neck, you got muscle spasms. All of this stuff is because of that stuff that you're allowing into your subconscious mind. Believe it or not, that's what's happening. And personally, I've been doing, this is one of the practices that I do now, is I meditate when I get up. First thing I do. I don't grab a device. The device doesn't come until probably 2-3 hours later after I wake up. You know? And then at night, what I do is I do that again. I body scan, and then I go into my meditative state and prayers, and that's how I fall asleep. You know what I mean? And I don't have a device. I'm not on that device about an hour before I'm about to go to bed is when I retire that device. It's gone. I don't see it, and it's the last thing I'm not messing with it. You know what I mean? The last hour or two of the day. And what I'm usually doing at the last hour or two of the day is I'm either reading a book, or I am taking a walk, or I'm doing some exercise, something like that. But I end the day with that meditative state, that meditation and prayer when I go to sleep. And these are two things that I do. One in the morning as soon as I get up, and when I go to bed. And man, I tell you what, it has been a game changer for me. You know what I mean? It really has. And man, if I keep doing this, I tell you what, man, I feel like I'm a pro at life. I'm on the way to being a professional life liver. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, if you want to be a pro at something, guess what you got to do? You got to do it every day. You want to be a pro at something, you got to do exercise at whatever it is that you want to be a pro at. And if you want to be a pro at life, guess what you're going to have to change? You're going to have to change all that negative living that you're doing, all that negative thinking that you're doing. That's how you become a pro at life. Just like the professional athletes want to be a pro at football, basketball, baseball, race car driving, golf, whatever it is. Or academic professionals, you know what I mean? Do you think these people are scrolling through their phones and all that kind of stuff? I can guarantee you they're not. I can guarantee you they're getting up early in the morning, and they're hitting the grind. Because they got this vision, they got this aim that they're trying to get to, and it's to be a professional basketball player, professional football player, a professional academic person. And if you want to be a professional too at life, guess what? Do what the professionals do and practice every single day. Repetitiveness, my brother and sisters. And it's weird because when you go to these, say, NA or AA meetings, guess what they do? They tell you to do what? They tell you to keep on coming back. Because if you do it constantly, then guess what? You'll eventually get into recovery. You'll eventually get your life back. And what recovery to me is recovering things that you lost along the way, to the addiction, to the stress, to the anger, to the PTSD, to the childhood traumatic experiences, to just whatever negative thing got you bound down. When you recover, you're recovering the things that have kept you away from doing those positive things, from getting those positive things, from reaching those positive goals. You know what I mean? If you want to be a pro at life, do what the pros do. And do things on a repetitive basis. And do things positively. Think positive. Get all the negativity out of your life. And I guarantee you, man, your life will start changing. And you won't even be doing stuff. You know what I mean? The energy that you're going to be radiating when you do these things. Me personally, man, I've changed every negative aspect of my life when I was in the addiction to positive things in world of recovery spirituality that I do now. And man, things have just been coming. You know what I mean? And to give you an example, I was didn't know what I was gonna do, you know, because when I was in the addiction, I was homeless. I had lost my business. I had lost my family. I mean, I wound up on the streets with nothing, absolutely nothing, and I had no idea what I was gonna do, how I was gonna start making money. You know, what kind, how I had no plan of action of how my life was gonna get any better. But I tell you what, by doing things repetitively, I kept going to meetings, I kept going to peer support groups, I kept going to my spiritual community, I kept going to recovery community and reaching out. I kept doing things on the positive. I kept just chanting things on positive, manifesting things on the repetitive. Every single day I would do and say the same things. This is what I want. This is what I want. This is how I'm going to get it. And this is what I'm doing today to get it. And I kept doing things like that. And guess what, man? Today, I'm not homeless anymore. I live in a nice apartment. I, am already in, I got a different career path that I'm doing, which is in IT cybersecurity, and I'm going to school for that now. I'm enrolled. I've been going to school, and it's, it's been great. You know what I mean? And I took my first test that I took. I just took it yesterday. Was my first midterm, and I got a 96 on it. Go figure. You know what I mean? But those are the kind of things that are coming my way. Like, I didn't know that I was going to get into that school. And sure enough, things just, one door opened, another door opened, and I mean, it's just amazing how the life works in that energy sense. You know what I mean? When you get in line with your energy line, when you get in line with the energy of the world, of the cosmos, of your spiritual divinity, and you do things on a repetitive basis to keep yourself in line there, and be mindful and be enlightened of the things that are coming your way, the things that you're actually doing, and to maintain, and you'll be surprised at what comes. You know what I mean? It's just been great. You know what I mean? I'm not feeding my body this negative, bad stuff anymore. You know what I mean? That was just breaking me down. It was unhealthy. It was just keeping me bound down. I mean, it was terrible. And I was actually just withering away out there. You know what I mean? And, heck, when I got back into treatment, heck, I was weighing 160 pounds, man. And I was just like terrible. And today, man, I got my health back. I'm exercising again. I'm eating right. I mean, things are moving along. I got my weight back. I'm up to like 195 pounds now. And I mean, it's cool, you know what I mean? It's cool to live a life like that. And it can happen. It can happen if you consistently do things on a repetitive basis every single day. By no means is it going to be easy, but like they say, no pain, no gain. If you're suffering, well then guess what? Be grateful for the suffering, because that means that you're alive. That means that you still have a chance. That means that there's still time for you. So if you want to be a professional life liver, guess what? Do what the pros do and practice. Practice living like that. And I can guarantee you will become a pro in no time. Well, I guess that's going to be it for today. I guess if you would, please, at this time, man, if you would give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell. I really appreciate that. And just know that when you do hit that subscribe button, you'll be helping out another veteran, another homeless person, another person dealing with addiction, another person dealing with PTSDs, childhood traumatic experiences, drug addiction, depression, suicidal thoughts, anger, sadness, all of those types of things, my friends, because I've personally dealt with all that stuff. And I am living proof that you can get out of it and live a happy and spiritual and just professional life liver, man. So again, thank you for watching my channel. I really appreciate it. And I guess until the next time on When the Smoke Clears, I am the Recovery Plug.